for a colorblind America. What do you mean when you say that?
So a lot of people equate colorblindness to I don't see race or to pretending not to see race. I think that's a big mistake. We all see race, right? And we're all capable of being racially biased, so we should all be self-aware to that possibility. My argument is not for that. My argument is that we should try our very best to treat people without regard to race, both in our personal lives and our public policy.
Of course.
How you doing? This is Black Shy Guy here. Welcome once again to a brand new season. We are in season 8 in Chi-Town, baby. Let's give it up. And as always, it's because of you guys. Thank you for sitting at my table. I forgot to silence my phone there. My apologies. Listen, sometimes you gotta be active and ready to receive, messages from important people. You know what I mean? Right now, nobody's important but you guys. But you know what I'm saying here. You know what I'm saying here. We are going to get to a couple of discussions, but there's a main topic, as always, here on the show, and I want to focus on that because we're talking about a couple of hens once again when it comes to The View, and when it comes to a special guest they had on the show that I really want to talk about, and I really want to give a shout out to because he continues to cook. And we all know the cackling hens. I'm going to call it cackling hens because a lot of people who have podcasts and they talk about these idiots, these idiots on The View, majority of them call them cackling hens or banshees or whatever. I'm going to decide to call them banshees, all right? Because that's what they are. That's what they are. And you notice when they have a cast of their own that doesn't agree with the majority of them on that cast, they're not willing to even accept that because we already know who was on that cast and got kicked out when she had a difference of opinion from Whoopi Goldberg and Sunny Hostin. We already know who was that was kicked out, but I'm not even going to get into that because that's going to result in me going into another story that I really don't want to get into. But Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, Alyssa Farah, and Ana Navarro are usually the banshees on that show that makes no sense at all when they talk. Listen, The View is all about promoting something in the past that they don't want to move on from. They never want to move on from the blacks basically dealing with prejudice acts and racism. They never want to move on for that. They forever in their mind want to live in that era. They never want to move on from that. Never, ever. They just refuse to. They want to define every single individual and minority, basically blacks, Hispanics. They want to basically promote the fact that your race has everything to do with you, with your character, everything. I don't understand why in the world they want to promote such a thing. Why do they want to promote the fact that your skin color has everything to do with you, not your character? Your actions don't define you. It's your skin color that defines everything about you and whether you're going to succeed or not. That's what The View is all about. They don't want to promote the fact that your character and the decisions you make in life has everything to do with the possibility of your success. They don't want to say that. The View wants to promote the fact that your skin color has everything to do with whether you succeed in life or not. That's what the banshees want to promote. They had an individual on the show by the name of Coleman Hughes. He's an American writer and podcast. I'm going to keep it simple.
So a lot of people equate colorblindness to I don't see race or to pretending not to see race. I think that's a big mistake. We all see race, right? And we're all capable of being racially biased, so we should all be self-aware to that possibility. My argument is not for that. My argument is that we should try our very best to treat people without regard to race, both in our personal lives and our public policy.
Of course.
And the reason I wrote this book, thank you.
Which The View does not know how to do. The View sees color in every regard. There's no freaking blindness of color when it comes to the Banshees and The View. They just can't disregard the color of your skin. They can't. They can't. But it's funny how when he basically describes what he's about to describe, which is the meaning of the color of blindness when it comes to his book that he's releasing, it's funny how it doesn't go the same meaning that they're trying to publicize when it comes to people of color, black people, obviously. When it comes to the negatives against whites, they don't want to go with that. They don't want to go with that. Let's continue, and you'll see what I'm trying to say.
The reason I wrote this book is because in the past 10 years, it has become very popular to, in the name of anti-racism, teach a kind of philosophy to our children and in general that says your race is everything, right? And I think that is the wrong way to fight racism, and that's why I wrote this book at this time.
I'm sorry, baby.
Yeah.
Can I just point out that there is a reason for that?
Here we go.
When I went to school, getting any information about anyone's race was not taught. No history, there was no black history. None of those things were taught. And here in America, 100 years ago when I was a younger woman, that's how people saw you. That's how they judged you. So I think, I don't want to say it's your youth, but I think you have a...
You notice how she's calling out his youth, basically saying that you're too young to really understand what people are going through and why they take actions towards the result of the color being everything about an individual. But I love his rebuttal, and I love the fact that he stays calm, because I wouldn't be able to stay calm in this situation. I'd be wilding out. I'm not gonna lie, because when you hear stupidity, sometimes you can't understand the reasoning behind it. You're like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, I mean, do I really gotta spell it out for you? A color does not define an individual at all. At all. It's their actions, the decisions they make in life. Nobody's failure right now in this modern age should result in their color. It's the decisions they make and the actions they take towards their success. If you're lazy, you're gonna be lazy in life and you're gonna be unsuccessful. It doesn't at all go towards your skin color at all. But The View doesn't see it that way. I'm sorry. I'm freaking ranting right now. I apologize. But listen, I gotta freaking call it out. You know what I mean? Here in Chi-Town, we keep it a buck. You know what I mean? Let's continue.
Point, but I think you have to also take into consideration what people have lived through in order to understand why there has been such a pointing of very specific racial things, like women couldn't get into colleges. If you were a black person, there were a lot of colleges wouldn't accept you. Trying to equal the playing field. I think that's what a lot of folks have been trying to do. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Coleman. I got to chime in on this. You know what I mean? This is the problem with The View and the Banshee leader, who's Whoopi Goldberg, because they can't move on from it. They can't move on for what has happened in the past. They cannot move on from it. Coleman Hughes just does a wonderful job in basically canceling this debacle who's freaking Whoopi Goldberg. His rebuttal is brilliant, because when does it come a time that we move on from the bullshit that happened in the past? All of that, everything that happened in the past was bullshit that was done to people of color. I understand that. We all understand that. We're not saying that Whoopi Goldberg is wrong. She's not wrong. All of that shit did happen. What she just said, all of that shit did happen. But why bring back the past and put it into the modern era, causing everyone to rethink that, oh, I might get enslaved again, this and that and the third? We're never gonna move on for it. I want reparations for everything. I mean, when are we gonna move on? When? Let's continue.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think that's your experience, and that's valid. You know, as a counterpoint, when I was in 5th grade, we all watched Roots together.
Yeah.
In public school.
Yeah.
So these are different experiences.
Yes.
I think it's also different generations. It's different parts of the country, right? we have very different cultures all living together in one
Yes.
country. So I'm not going to deny that. But I view this notion of a colorblind society similar to the idea of a peaceful society, which is to say it's an ideal, it's a North Star. And the point is not that we're ever going to get there. We're not going to touch it. But we have to know when we're going forward and when we're going backwards. And we're going backwards when we're doing woke kindergarten in San Francisco. You know, with you didn't hear about this story?
No, but wait.
Wait, because I want to get to the part of the book.
Yeah,
You actually
yeah.
believe that.
I love the fact that he basically told Whoopi Goldberg, I'm gonna call her the Banshee leader. I mean, in a lot of role-playing games, there's always a freaking group, right? And there's a leader among that group. So I'm gonna call her Queen Banshee. Is that a good name for her being the leader of the crew in The View? Queen Banshee, or the Bachelorette, or Banshee Q. Or I don't know what name. I mean, come up with a name for me, please. But I'm gonna call her just plain Banshee right now, because his rebuttal towards Whoopi Goldberg was brilliant. When are you gonna move on, Whoopi? When are you gonna move on? When you just said that 100 years ago when you were young, all right? Because we all know you old. I mean, obviously that was a sarcastic statement that you made. We all know that. But the fact that you just proved it to everyone that happened years ago. When are we going to move on from this idiotic point of color being everything about an individual? When are we gonna move on? Let's go right to Joy Behar, all right, the second captain of The View. You know what I mean? The second captain. She's Bachelorette. Banshee-rette. I mean Banshee-rette. We got the Banshee and we got the Banshee-rette. I mean, she's basically the second in command. Like, if you off the Banshee, you got to deal with the second commander. Or if you off the second commander, you're up to the leader, who's the Banshee, who's Whoopi Goldberg. So let's call her the second captain, all right, of The View, of the Banshee team. You know what I mean? Joy Behar, and this is what I want to say about Joy Behar, right? She's reading off a freaking card, right? She's reading off a card because obviously she has no idea what the fuck she's talking about.
Say there's a lot in common with white supremacy. How can you compare those two things? You talk
compare
about
them because-
anti-racism. You're comparing it to white supremacy.
Because they both view your race as a extremely significant part of who you are.
Exactly. But Joy Behar don't get it. Joy Behar don't get it for some odd reason. Because for her, blacks can't do no wrong, right? Like, blacks can't do no wrong. Minority can't do no wrong. But it's the whites that do wrong. And she's white. So, I don't know. I really don't understand, right? The people in The View who are white. Do you understand that your leader, the Banshee, who's Whoopi Goldberg, your leader is basically making all of you guys' race look like villains? And you guys basically mind controlled. You guys are fucking mind controlled by Whoopi Goldberg. That you guys are calling yourself villains and basically saying that blacks can do no wrong and whites are the main problem and they have to be eradicated from the face of the earth. That's what you guys are saying. Let's continue.
So white supremacists, they obviously say, we all know what they say, okay? Neo-racists like Rob D'Angelo, they say that to be white is to be ignorant, for example. Well, this is a racial stereotype, and I want to call a spade and say this is not the style of anti-racism we have to be teaching our kids. We should be teaching them that your race is not a significant feature of who you are. Who you are is your character, your value, and your skin color doesn't say anything about that.
Exactly. He said everything right there. I'm knocking shit down because, oh my God, I don't understand why The View doesn't get that. I mean, I think it's simple enough. I think a toddler can understand that. I really do. I really do. I don't understand why The View can't see the fact that your skin color has nothing to do with who you are.
Arch criminal who must be put away. Another innocent victim of a genocidal maniac.